Good morning, everyone. In the last topic, we talked about what are fuels, and in this today we will talk about conventional source of energy and non-conventional source of energy. But before that, I think most of you have already seen the video and jotted down what were the important points in that. But also, I request everyone to please go through the book. And those who have not bothered to open the book yet, they are please requested, and even their parents are requested to ask your ward or son or daughter to please open the book and go through what I am teaching you. Now, what do you mean by conventional source of resources and non-conventional source of resources? Those sources of energy which are used extensively by human beings, either in the past or in the present, and which meets the major energy requirement of human beings will come under conventional source of energy. फिर से एक बार definition बोल रहा हूँ. Those sources of energy which are extensively used by human beings to meet their energy requirement, and they also constitute major portion of energy requirement of human beings, are simply called as conventional source of energy. And under this category, fossil fuels is one of the example. Hydro, electricity, all these come under the category fossil fuels, conventional source of energy. Now, what are non-conventional source of energy? Those sources of energy which are not extensively used by human beings, but in the future they could constitute or meet the major portion of human energy requirement, will come under non-conventional source of energy. फिर से बोल रहा हूँ, those sources of energy which are not extensively used by human beings till now, might be because of the lack of technology, or we are not able to tap it yet. So those will come under non-conventional source of energy, and the example will be your solar energy, wind energy, geothermal energy. In the hydroelectricity will also come under non-conventional source of energy. So please check that. And again, the most important in future is geothermal energy. Since these are not used extensively by human beings till now, these will come under non-conventional source of energy. Now afterwards we will cover what are the characteristics of the good fuel. So, characteristics of the good fuel. Of an ideal fuel, not good fuel, of an ideal fuel. In the last video I said, although paper burns very fast, but it is not an ideal fuel. We generally don't use paper for cooking purposes or any other domestic purposes. So now when I will talk about the characteristics or the features of an ideal fuel, and I will also give you examples related to the features that I will say. Second point, in the last video I have also said that if a fuel could be ideal depending upon the availability also. I am staying in the town, I have good connectivity with the road, and so LPG is easily accessible to me. But if someone is in the hilly region, and so for him connectivity is going to be a big issue. So he is not going to use LPG as cooking gas. He will look for some alternative source of energy. So the most important characteristic of an ideal fuel is that it should have high calorific value. It should have high calorific value means biogas has a calorific value of almost 45 to 50 kilojoule per gram. But the same gobar gas, same cow dung cake has a calorific value of 7 to 8 kilojoules per gram. That means ideally biogas is a better substitute of the cow dung cake in the rural area. Second is, it should have moderate ignition temperature. When you talk about moderate ignition temperature, it simply means that the minimum temperature at which a fuel catches fire should not be very less, or it should not be less than room temperature, or even at room temperature, or it should not be very high that it will take a long time to burn. So the most important or the characteristic of an ideal fuel is that it should have a moderate ignition temperature. But third, most important, it should be easily available. As I said earlier, might be LPG is a very good fuel, but depending upon, because of the connectivity to the roads, because all the LPG gas cylinder will come through trucks or via road. So if you are at the one of the remote areas of India, you might not get LPG. So depending upon the availability, a fuel will come under the category of either it is an ideal fuel or it is not an ideal fuel. Fourth point is, it should be cheap. Let's say someone is staying in the rural area. So for him, wood could be a very good option to use as a fuel, because he might go to the forest or some area where he could collect some dry wood. So for him it could be cheap. But if it comes to the town and we have to pay a certain value, so we will find it out whether it is cheap or not. So to make a fuel ideal, the fuel should be cheap. Fifth point, it should be easy to store, handle, as well as safe. Any fuel, depending upon its convenience to handle, how safe it is, whether it is easy to store or not, it makes him ideal. Let's take an example of wood. Wood might be cheap to you, but it is for an urban area or for an urban residence, it will take a larger place to store. So it could not be an ideal fuel for urban places. Sixth point, most important, it should not release any toxic gases. Any toxic gases should not be released. Leading to pollution. An ideal fuel is that fuel which does not releases most of the toxic gases to the environment, and thus it does not contribute to any type of pollution. When you talk about pollution, pollution could be air pollution, it could be your soil pollution, it could be your water pollution. So it should not release any gas that would lead to pollution. And another important point, that the seventh point is, it should not leave any residue. Whenever a wood is burned or a cow dung cake is burned, it leaves lot of ashes, and this lot of ashes which is released is responsible for causing air pollution as well as water pollution. The same as when discharge in field could lead to soil pollution also. So an ideal fuel is such a fuel which should not leave any type of residue, which should not leave any residue. Now, why the cooking gas which is used in our home comes under the category of an ideal fuel? So let me first think that which are the criteria that it satisfies. First, Yes, LPG has very high calorific value of almost 50 kilojoule per gram. Its calorific value. It has a moderate ignition temperature. Only when it is struck with matchstick or lighter, it burns. Yes, it is easily available. Yes, it is also very cheap. And most important point is, it is easy to store. You can keep 1 or 2 cylinders in your home, and it is safe also. The most important point that when LPG burns, it only releases CO2. Although it is a greenhouse gas which causes global warming, but it does not releases any type of other toxic gases which could lead to pollution also, or which could cause acid rain also. Last one is, it should not leave any residue.